Hi, this is Eternal King here, bringing you another LOR video today. I apologize, we're back on the Girlfriend's Potato headset, so the audio quality might not be quite as strong as it usually is, but hopefully you can hear me okay. So the subject of today's video is how to top 100 in Eternal. So, for those that don't know, I have two types of decks that I specialize in. Aggro decks and high synergy decks. I call them auto level decks. And those are the two decks that I pilot most effectively. And so by being effective at certain subgenres of decks, I'm able to consistently keep a type of high win rate across a variety of champions and archetypes, as long as the tenets of the build of the deck are what I am comfortable with. So for example, Meta Ziggs Poppy is an aggro deck. I can play Meta Ziggs Poppy to a 70% win rate very easily. It's no problem. But because I'm good at Meta Ziggs Poppy, I can play something that is generally less strong effectively. Something like Darius Overwhelm. Darius Overwhelm is not a meta deck. It's not a list that people would expect to be strong, but through proper piloting, through proper recognitions of tempo and aggressive play patterns, you can pilot something like this just as effectively as Ziggs Poppy, and I've done so. I've beaten other players playing Ziggs Poppy with my meme Darius Overwhelm list, just showing that I can, just by understanding the tenets of good aggressive play. My other type of deck that I'm very good at is high synergy decks. High synergy decks or auto level decks are lists that attempt to flip your champions as quickly as possible and use the interplay and synergy between those two champs to win you the game. So I played Jace Lux into a variety of matchups, and I'm exceptionally comfortable with this deck being a kind of top meta performer because I understand how to play for that double laser synergy. My advice, however, and we get to the meat of the video, is figure out what your type of deck is. Not who is your favorite champion, not what is your favorite card. Figure out what your type of deck is. And then, by honing your ability to win with that type of deck, and you can have more than one type that you're good at, I have two. By honing your ability to succeed with that type of deck, you can apply those principles across a variety of builds and champion constructions. So I'll give an example of a type of deck that I do not play. So the type of decks that I tend not to play are infinite stall decks. So something like Targon PNZ with a Victor is a deck that I would not play, but I see the value in it. I understand the strengths and the construction of, the more or less the rough construction of how this deck should be built. So things like Spacey Sketcher, right? Invoking a Celestial card that costs 3 or less. Zoe doing the exact same thing as a champion. Targon Tellstones pulling you things like Behold the Infinite, Hush, and Blessing of Targon is a great Tellstone. Cosmic Call is your win con, spending a ton of mana to essentially invoke a big Celestial and also reduce the cost of your Celestials everywhere. I personally would include some amount of anti-aggro, so Cosmic Youngling plus the Falling Star is going to do for your removal package, the Guiding Touch for the healing, Solari Priestess, which will allow you to tutor for champions and get cheap removal and just cycle on 3. I think one Blinded Mystic is Stonks for the hard silence. Mountain Scryer is kind of the Allegiance part of the package. The Fangs I think is just fine at 4 mana. Victor being that typical, if you don't answer this card, you're going to be in trouble kind of champion. Moondreamer was buffed, so if you Nightfall with Moondreamer now, it actually reduces the cost of a Celestial card by 1, which isn't bad. So it does the exact same thing as Mountain Scryer now, and it kind of combos with Cosmic Call and stuff like that. And then your 3-star shaping to, again, get heal and stall and give you that sort of invoke synergy. So an infinite stall deck like this, I understand the value in it. And this is the kind of deck that, you should, if you're that kind of player who does not, do great with tempo, who does not do great with all-in synergies for champions, if you're the kind of player who does well with infinite card value and waiting and outwaiting your opponent and potentially successfully winning the game through, again, just infinite card value. This is the kind of construction you should be looking at. This is the kind of deck you should be looking at to win at LOR. And then once you figure out this deck, you can then apply those concepts to other region combinations, right? I would highly suggest you learn the ways of Ionia. You can learn the ways of Bandle City, and even maybe a little bit of mid-range Shurima in there. There's a lot of things that you can do there's a lot of flexibility in how you build a deck. Once you've narrowed down, this is the kind of deck that I win with. Not not memes. Like there's no memeing here. You've figured out what your strengths are, and you've honed that weapon, and now you're applying it in the best way possible to a variety of different decks. That's what makes a top 100 Eternal player, I find. Because at the end of the day, you don't have to like the decks that I build. You don't have to like how I build them. But you have to recognize that I have, honed a weapon through years of play that is proven to be highly successful in this format with a minimal amount of extended playtime or effort. So you too can basically, hit Masters and insta-flip to top 100 when you qualify for Masters. You can do that through a sheer win rate just by playing decks that you're good at, that you kind of crack the code on. And yeah, that's the end of the video for today. I just wanted to explain, how to be top 100. And again, in my case, I could be top 10 if I wanted to grind this out. But in this instance, I'm pretty content with top 100. I like that I got here without playing a single game in Masters. That's pretty cool in my opinion. All right, this is Eternal King signing out.